Dr. Ovidiu Pecican, it's indeed an honor to be able to interview you in this forum. The Institute of Cultural Diplomacy is pleased to welcome you.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Pecican, as one of the most renowned writers, journalists and academics in your country, you inevitably also convert the role of cultural diplomat. What do you recognize as major potential of the discipline, both generally and with specific reference to your country?
May I?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, your question is really complicated with this both sides of the question. But what to say? I mean, in the Romanian territories unified a century and a half ago in the so-called nowadays Romania, we always had a very rich cultural life and a multi-leveled cultural life. Not, I don't speak about the elite's culture only, but I include here also the oral culture of the masses. Let's say the popular culture. Not mentioning the fact that Romanians were together with Bulgarians in the south, some Russians in the east, Hungarians and Saxons, namely Germans in Transylvania, the famous Dracula's Transylvania, right? So we had this very enriching experience of communicating cultures, and I think this offers a great ground for developing cultural diplomacy. Romanians were pretty good on that before unifying Transylvania to the smaller Romania kingdom at the time, immediately after the First World War. We saw incredibly an increasing cultural diplomatic activity at the times of Ceausescu's dictatorship, because he was ruling very tough, and he convoked all the powers, all the resources of the Romanians, and he got some results. He was received by the Queen of the UK, by the presidents of the United States. We had at the time the visits of Charles de Gaulle coming from France, Richard Nixon, and so on. Now, in the last 22 years, we discovered the beautiful taste of freedom and democracy. So everybody does whatever he or she can, and I speak not only about individuals and persons right now, but also about institutions. Unfortunately, like in all the European countries, or almost all, culture seems to politicians to be a weak field, and how to say it in a proper way, decorative field of interest. So they do not bet a lot of money on culture, but I'm afraid I have a bad news for them, and good news for our peoples here in Europe. Culture is what is actually the heritage we transmit for tomorrow. So if we think about that, I could immediately tell you 30 or 40 names of extraordinary writers, unfortunately most of them unknown yet because of the power of the state and of the NGOs to pay the translators. You have to translate literature in order to make it better known. On the contrary, the nowadays Romanian movie is very well seen. Our directors received a lot of prizes in the last years, especially the younger ones. Not mentioning the musicians. Musicians are all around Europe and also in the state, coming from Romania. So I think if we put all those resources, personal gifts, and also the money as it is, we could reinforce the cultural diplomacy in Romania and from Romania as a part of European Union. I think what we need more in the European Union is to go over the bureaucratic views on the world and go down to people and put them as resources in the first view. This would be my short, not so short answer.
Thank you very much. We're going to ask only one last question because the other one you actually answered. So with the opening of the Universitatea Babes-Bolyai campus in Berlin, the collaboration in between your university and the Institute for Cultural Diplomacy is indeed increasingly strengthening. What are your thoughts about the implications of such a step forward towards a bridge building process among Germany and Romania, but also about Western and Eastern Europe?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts concerning that area, but I have also some experiences. The Babes-Bolyai University, and especially the faculty I represent here, the Faculty of European Studies, founded in '94, had also previously a lot of connections with Germany, like in Munich University, or with the University of Münster from Westphalian, and so we have a lot of experience concerning our direct link to Germany. Not mentioning the fact that in our consortium were and still are universities from Italy, from France, from Belgium, and from UK. Just to remember only some of the Western universities. But now we open a new perspective here, because this is a new beginning in the field of our academic and non-academic experiences. To work together on the field of the cultural diplomacy is a great opportunity for all of us. First of all, because we wait anxiously to receive in Cluj-Napoca, that is the capital city of our part of Romania, Transylvania, to receive the students coming from Berlin, specialized in cultural diplomacy. I think they will find a special and very nice Central European city where you can still notice Renaissance, Baroque style buildings, everything, 19th century, and there is a richness, but there is also the joy and the happiness of receiving guests there. Your colleagues, my younger colleagues, the students are always so anxious to put them together with the guests. On the second hand, Berlin has in our culture a great significance. Our main writer, the poet Mihai Eminescu, was studying here in Berlin. We have also some other historians from 19th century, the builders of the country. So when I came yesterday for the first time in my life in Berlin, I had the feeling, well, not only patriotic, but also like being in a hugely important capital. Not mentioning the fact that 2 years ago, the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, was our guest really in our university. So I think those ties we just plan to develop are very important for our next years, and maybe connecting the knowledge, the know-how of the Western part of the project with the Eastern one, with its own traditions and also approaches, we might get a better and more complex, I don't know, perspective on what we plan to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for answering to our question. It was an honor to have you here today. Thank you very much.